So firstly, over to you. Thank you, Dale.
Thanks, Bernie, and just let me get my little timer on, because I'm going to get this done in 10 minutes, and I'm not going to take questions, but I'll be really happy to speak to anybody through the break or through the rest of the day, and I've got a project here at the end for anybody who's interested. We started a project called the Victorian Virtual Learning Network some 5 years ago, and I want to run you through it, have you understand something of what we're doing. I know that there are schools in here today, principals whose schools are involved in what we're doing. You've got a good starting point, but for others this will be new information. We put a proposition to Bronwyn Pike in April of 2008 that there are a number of significant challenges across the state in terms of curriculum provision, and you can see those snapshotted behind me on the screen. And really, we sought permission to develop a business case, which we went ahead and did, then used that to source some funding, and we rolled into the project, and I'll take you through that, which is probably the most important thing. There's a point of connection here with what Richard's just spoken about. Many of you will be in schools where you can't provide a full breadth of curriculum, particularly at Year 11 and 12 for your students. We know that in certain areas we've got teacher shortages. I know that, and I've been a principal of a small rural school, I know that there are significant challenges in finding the number of students to be able to afford to run subjects. We know that there's not enough money in the system. And we know that in some locations, particularly regional cities and metropolitan Melbourne, that one of the impacts of that is the flight of students out of our system and off to non-government schools. And our system, and as individual schools, we've responded in a range of ways. And you'll be familiar with most of those. We've moved kids, we've moved teachers, we've used solutions like video conferencing at a local level to try and address those and provide breadth of opportunity for our students. And at the system level, we've done things like, and we've had a long-standing Distance Education Centre of Victoria that's got a charter and got a responsibility and a breadth much greater than the project that we're involved in. Within our system, we provide rurality and isolation funding, and if you're a recipient of that, by virtue of your location and size of the school, I know what you use it for. It's used to provide curriculum breadth by and large across the top of the school, because otherwise you can't achieve it. I'd say that nationally and to some level here in Victoria, we've made some investment in the creation of content, digital content, and repositories to hold that. No one can search them, no one can find them. Most of it's at P10, but at least we've made some attempt perhaps in that area. We know that the Alternet was supposed to hold promise for us in terms of its ability to share content, to collaborate across locations, and to provide a platform for delivery. And I think we know, particularly at secondary school, that it's failed on its promise to deliver many of those things, and we could have a separate discussion about the reasons for that. And then we've had, I guess out of the system, we've had support for a range of small-scale initiatives as well. When we put the proposition to Bronwyn Pike, we then needed to go and develop a business case, which I've mentioned. We did that, we took that back into government and then used that as a basis of sourcing funding to do the work that we wanted to undertake. Our essential proposition was that if you invested in the creation of high-level content, then you might be able to develop a provision model through which VCE courses could be provided to schools across the state. So we wanted a scalable solution. We didn't want video conferencing, which you can never scale because of its synchronous nature. Our proposition was that if you ask teachers to do this on top of their day-to-day work, it won't get done. We actually needed to release people and to bring in expertise to do this work. So we engaged in a range of research. We sent 12 or 13 people off to different parts of the world to look at what was happening. We looked at the research literature and we found a number of things. But one thing that was really critical to us was that our research told us that if we were going to venture into this, we needed content experts, instructional designers, and technical support for those. And we had content experts. We're a Year 11 and 12 school of 1,750 kids. We've got content experts, but we didn't have instructional design expertise. We couldn't find it. We couldn't find training and support for our staff to do that work, so we had to learn to do the work. And then we had to find the technical support that sat behind and around that. We trialled the content, trialled the courses over a period of years, over 2 or 3 years, and we had to source funding. And the funding has come for our project from a range of sources. I would say that over the last 4.5 years, we've probably sourced somewhere around $2 million for our project. Some of that the initial funding came out of Multimedia Victoria. It came out of, partly out of our department for about 2.5 years. We've sourced funding at the moment broken through DWA, which is actually NBN funding. We've got a partnership with Department of Business and Innovation here in Victoria. We're not able to get any funding out of our department, and you'll all understand the reasons for that at the moment. I'd also say that there are several $100,000 of our own money in the project. We're doing that not with the prospect of any commercial return. What we're doing for free at the moment for other schools. We're doing it because we think it's important to the system. We think it's important that students in all of our schools have access to breadth of opportunity. So this year, for the first time at any scale, through an offer that many of you will have seen in the departmental circular in August of last year, we're delivering specialist math methods and physics to schools that want to take those subjects around the state. This is an asynchronous model, and I'll come to talk about the features in a moment, but kids can access this at any time, in any location. We've also got under development the other set of subjects that you can see behind me, and we'll make those available around the state free of charge in 2014. That's the pattern of our delivery at the moment. You should see instantly, if you are involved in some of those local solutions, that here's a solution that's capable of scaling. So we're reasonably well connected into the policy discussion within our department, but there's a long way to go in terms of the thinking within the department. But this model hits everywhere from Swiss Creek through to Hamilton, up to Murrayville, across to Corryong and everywhere in between, including some schools in metropolitan Melbourne. Because as Richard's indicated, it's not just location, it's size and the mix of students that you have and those other factors. We expect that model, obviously, and that pattern to grow over time. Someone's going to say to me that we've always done this, that there have always been models of provision over distance, and there have. This is what we started with. What we think we've done is to create something that's a little different. We've created something that uses 21st century technology, and I'll just quickly snapshot this and almost finished here. So these are completely online. You do not need a teacher at your school. What you need is a liaison person. I've got 2 people working in project management here with the project. You need a liaison person, and you need to have some students who might, you've got timetable clashes, you can't run a class, you can't find a teacher, you can receive it through this. It's fully online, it's asynchronous, the kids can access it at any time, and we do the whole lot. We do the assessment, we're the assessing school. We've got to do some further work with the VCAA and with our department's data unit, because we want this data back in the schools, not sitting at our school. We want the data back in your school. And we use all of the sorts of approaches that you can see on the screen behind me. We've had to standardise and develop some rubrics for quality development and delivery. Some of those we could draw in from overseas, but we needed to contextualise it, so we've developed some of those ourselves. We deliver off Moodle. This can't be done through the Alternet. The reason it can't be done through the Alternet is the Alternet's got no tracking and monitoring tools, and when we try to load up our content, that's a lot of it's in the form of Adobe Captivate products with all this embedded video and quiz and interactivity inside it. The Alternet disaggregated it. We had to find another platform, and one that worked. Moodle works and works very well for us. We support that with a synchronous component this year, which is another Adobe product called Connect. You'd understand that you'd understand something like Illuminate. It serves that purpose. It's live, but it can be captured. The students don't necessarily need it, but it's an adjunct that we think is quite beneficial for our model. So this is not distance education, it's not video conferencing, it's a very different model. Our understanding would be that it's the only project of its type in Australia. If you're familiar with the virtual school models internationally, you might ask the question why we don't have something like that in Australia. I'm not sure of the reason for that, but this is what it would look like in our view. One of the reasons we're having support out of the Commonwealth is that while assessment may sit within state jurisdictions, if there's some commonality of curriculum, then of course what we've created might be of benefit to other systems as well. You don't need local technical requirements, and as I've indicated, the delivery is free under the conditions of our partnership. In around August this year, we'll seek enrolments for 2014 for any schools that are interested. The department will send another circular out for us. We'll go out through VASSP and so on as well. If you're interested, there are contact details here. You just need to contact anyone at Bendigo Senior Secondary. Contact me or one of the project managers, or just ring the college, or find me on Email and let me know, and I'll put you onto the people who might be able to work with you to help. We are seeking partners. We're working in a couple of curriculum areas now where we've got significant challenge. If you've got an outstanding legal studies teacher in your college who has got a good level of digital content and a good know-how, we'd be really keen to hear from them. Likewise in chemistry. We're also doing some preliminary work on a Form P to 10 Mandarin curriculum as well. So if you've got people in your school who you think might be able to make a contribution, we'd be delighted to hear from you. What's in this for you? We'll give you back the course. Give you back the course for internal use. We use this content within our college to support a blended model of learning for our students, so that we, over time, will find that we can do a lot of interesting things with that. We're doing some work with the department, and I've written a series of papers and worked into different areas within the department and within the Minister's office. We believe that they should be establishing a virtual school in Victoria with a broad brief. What we're doing is only a really thin slice. We've only got a narrow area of expertise, but this is it's interesting work for us. I've got 14 people working in the project, about 8.5 EFT. Most of them are very, very experienced and highly competent teachers who've been at the game for 20 years or more. This is the most exciting and challenging and invigorating work of their careers, and we'd be delighted to hear from anyone who would like to be involved in some way. In the end, or probably the next step for us, is we need other schools to be involved in the development of some of this content, because I don't have the expertise in all of the areas at our school. I'm going to source some additional funding. I need someone to write an accounting course for us, someone to write a biology course, and a few other areas like that. We'd love to partner with other schools in that work, so we'd be very keen to hear from you if you've got an interest in that area as well. Thanks for your time, and I'll be happy to catch up with anyone through the breaks today if you've got questions about what we're doing. Thanks.